About a month ago, my daughter's sister-in-law, Ari, suspected that my daughter was having an affair with a family friend named James. Ari brought it to the family's attention. I confronted my daughter directly, and she completely denied it. I gave her a strong warning about how damaging an affair would be not just to her marriage but also to our family's reputation. Her husband, my son-in-law, has always been good to her and to us. I reminded her of all his kindness and support. She assured me it was just a false accusation and promised she would never do such a thing. I then went to speak to my son-in-law personally. I told him I believed it was a false accusation and that he shouldn't let rumors ruin his marriage. After some deep talks, he agreed to move past it. Fast forward to 3 weeks AITA, I got a sudden call from my son-in-law telling me to come over immediately. He didn't explain anything and hung up. I was scared and called my daughter, but my son-in-law picked up instead. When I asked about my daughter, he said she was fine, but my presence was needed. When I got there, he showed me evidence. He had linked her WhatsApp to his phone and showed me some naughty chats between her and James, including a plan to meet at his house. She had lied to him that she was going to a friend's place, Rose, a hairstylist, to get her hair done. The messages were explicit and set to disappear after 24 hours. I was so ashamed and disappointed in her. After everything we talked about, after her denial and my defense of her, she still did it. Now, my son-in-law is filing for divorce. A couple of days ago, my daughter came home crying, begging me to go with her to plead with her husband to reconsider. I told her no, I'm not gonna do such thing. She betrayed not just her husband but everyone who stood up for her. Later that evening, her friend Rose called me, saying I was being too harsh and that even if she did wrong, I should still show her love and support as a mother. Please, what do you think? I love my daughter, but I'm deeply hurt, and I don't think I should humiliate myself begging a man she betrayed not to leave her. Comment 1. The relationship is over. All you can do by talking to him is to prolong the pain. Your daughter did not have an accident, this was deliberate. She had warning that she was about to get caught, which should have made her say yeah, this ends right now, but instead she went and did more rather than acting to protect her marriage. You will not be helping her by getting her husband to postpone the inevitable. Approach it from that direction. Comment 2. Why is your daughter crying now? Doesn't she have the oh-so-important James lined up? She broke her marriage for him on purpose, might as well follow through and let her poor husband have his peace. You already spoke up for her once and she lied to you. You have no leg left to stand on with her husband anyway after that. Consequences are also a good lesson moms can teach. NTA. Comment 3. You are NTA. You can still love your daughter without supporting her poor decisions. You can be there for her throughout the divorce, but you are not obligated to try and fix her wrongs. Story 2. Snapping at my mom after she tried to force me to learn sign language. My 13M mom, 35F, has been dating with her now fiancé, 38M, let's call him Jeremy, for 2 years. 5 months ago he proposed her and they got engaged and moved in together, and now they are planning their wedding. I am cool with this. I really like Jeremy. They were friends before they started dating, so I met and got close to him before he started dating my mom. I think he's really cool and I am happy for my mom. My issue is with his annoying and arrogant son. He is only 2 years older than me but acts like he's too cool to hang out with me. He treats me like a little kid, but there's only 2 years between us. I will call him Dean. Dean is deaf and has to use a device, it's called cochlear implants, to hear. But he can't wear his device all the time because apparently hearing can be exhausting for him. To be honest, I think this is an excuse he uses to avoid hanging out with us. But that's what he claims. Anyway, he and Jeremy both know sign language, but my mom and I don't. My mom has started learning after she got engaged with Jeremy and she's pressuring me to learn too, but I'm refusing because I don't want to spend my time learning a whole language for him when he clearly doesn't even like me. My mom says I am being disrespectful because we now basically live semi-together. He comes to stay with Jeremy on the weekends. I live with my mom full-time. So unfortunately I have to stay with Dean on weekends. 2 days ago my mom, in front of Jeremy BTW, started telling me about this great ASL tutor she found online and how she's thinking sign me up for her classes. I lost my temper, yelled and told her I don't want to and just stop ducking pressuring me. I was told to go to my room for yelling at her, and was grounded for a day for using that word. I know I shouldn't have used that word. Comment 1. YTA. It's not an excuse. People who were born deaf, as I assume Dean was, can very easily get overwhelmed and exhausted while using cochlear implants. Hell, even some people who are born hearing get overwhelmed by sounds. I'd recommend doing some research into auditory fatigue. It can help you understand how I suspect Dean feels when he uses his cochlear implants for a prolonged period of time. Comment 2. NTA, but as an adult I wish I had put the effort into learning sign language. It's an amazing ability. A 15-year-old is likely not going to want to hang with a 13-year-old. But you're 13 and don't get it. That's okay. Don't learn sign language for him, learn it for someone you haven't met yet. Learn it because it looks good to future employers. Learn it because it's a good skill to have. Story 3, sitting on a woman's purse on the train. I live in a metropolitan city and the train I take home from work is crowded since everyone is also getting off work. There have been many occasions where other passengers on the train will occupy the empty seat next to them with their bag. There are people standing during the ride when there are available seats. I walked multiple cars to try to find an empty seat, without a bag, but couldn't. The last car I went to I asked this woman if I could sit there and she pretended to not hear me. I didn't want to tap her shoulder because you never know how people would react, so I waved a bit to get her attention and she said she didn't want to hold her bag, which was a no. I told her I couldn't find any other empty seat and I had already walked the entire train and it's leaving soon. She ignored me again. I asked if she could move her bag and she still ignored me. I ended up just sitting in the seat on her purse. She began yelling at me telling me I'm a WTCH and told me to move because she never said I could sit there. I told her that there was no other seat and the train was departing. She began pushing me to move and the conductor luckily came by them and told her to relax. She told him that I touched her purse and he asked if it was occupying a seat and she didn't reply. He ended up telling her to be considerate and left to check tickets. When the train stop came she said she's going to report me to the police for touching her belongings and said I'm inconsiderate for invading her personal space because she had a rough day at work and wanted personal space. She also said I need to pay for a new purse since I caused dents in hers. I told her that it was still inconsiderate when many people are looking for seats. She said they should have been there early enough. Go get empty seats. This was 9 minutes before departure. I'm a woman for reference, so it's not like she was simply uncomfortable sitting next to a man. Comment 1. NTA. And if she was uncomfortable next to a man, that's too bad. I say that as a woman who hates having a strange man sitting next to me. It's public transit. Her purse doesn't get a seat because she had a bad day. Comment 2. NTA. Holiday Metro train leaving Chicago, and it's jam-packed, no open seats, and we're all hot and sweaty. On the upper level, there are 2 single seats facing each other. On one is a guy sitting, on the other is his stuff. Girl asks him to move his stuff. He says, "No, I'm saving it for my friend." She picks it all up and drops it in the aisle. Then proceeds to sit and face him for the rest of the commute. The conductor sees all of it, and when the guy complains, he merely tells him, "There's no saving seats." It was priceless. Comment 3. NTA. I commute by train in a major metro area, and I always have bags. I ride from the end of the line into the city. Of course it's nice when the train isn't too crowded and you can hold your bag on your lap, but at the end of the day seats are for butts, not bags. It's the rule in basically every commuter rail I've ever taken too. You have to be a little confrontational to not get your humanity trampled on public transit, and you tried polite a couple of times. Story 4, expecting my friends to exclude a couple who spread false rumors about me being a home wrecker? I, 34F, have been part of a lovely friend circle for a while. One of the guys in our group, let's call him Anton, got a new girlfriend, let's call her Molly. At first, everything seemed fine, but later, things got weird. Apparently, Molly started believing I was trying to seduce Anton. This was completely untrue. Actually, our friends tried to match us previously with no success. Everyone knows Molly has insecurities from past relationships and has projected similar suspicions onto many other women. Things escalated when the rumor spread accusing me of being a nasty person, home wrecker, etc. The worst part was the conversation the couple decided to have with me when they felt that our friends start disliking this whole situation. They sat me down and basically told me that I had been inappropriate, seductive, and I should stop. I was in shock, freeze, and couldn't respond properly at the time. Just a note, we are in a liberal European country, and not some cult where women are not allowed to talk to men. What confused and hurt me most is that Anton had been telling other friends that he didn't think I'd done anything wrong, and that Molly was just having a hard time emotionally. But when we spoke directly, he sided with her completely. Later he also changed the narrative for friends too, saying he needs to be supportive of his partner. Since then, I haven't felt safe around them. I freeze completely. They still show up to group events and act like everything's normal, but I don't feel comfortable. I've kept my distance but haven't made a big deal out of it. Still, I feel stuck, like I'm being forced to share space with people who blamed and shamed me unfairly and never took responsibility for it. I know in theory it might help to talk to them to express how I feel, but I freeze and am not able to. I am realizing this was actually a traumatic experience, and now I have decided priority is looking after my nervous system, avoiding them completely and doing a variety of things to heal it. I recently have shared this with a few girlfriends in the circle, but my pain wasn't really accepted. They dismissed it, saying I should just talk to them. They didn't like the idea that in order to protect my healing I will have to step down from anywhere they are attending. This puts people in an uncomfortable situation where they have to choose who to invite to their events. I really do not understand how someone can be friends with people who did something so nasty. I wouldn't stay in touch with someone who did something like this to my friend. At the same time, I am so close to many people in the circle, we have been through so much, they are like family, and we have so many values and beliefs in common. Comment 1, NTA, but every one of your alleged friends is. If someone chooses to remain friends with someone who has actively caused me harm, I remove them from my life. It tells me they're lacking character and are too concerned about themselves to consider what a friend is going through. I don't need that kind of shit ruining my peace and well-being. Comment 2. NTA, I've been falsely accused in this way and it really sucks. Unfortunately, your former friend group is either a bunch of spineless cowards or they aren't 100% sure of your story and are leaving the door open for your accusers. Find new friends. Comment 3. NTA, but to describe this as trauma? That means you've lived a blessed life, with no real trauma. The best thing is always to be kind, and not play the game. Go to group activities, be kind and enjoy yourself. Be strong and rise above it. My concern, from reading this post, is that you're not strong enough to deal with a small thing. That should be your focus. Extra, not letting my son and his girlfriend live at our camp year-round? I'm 50. We have a camp I inherited from my grandparents just outside Killarney that's been in the family since before I was born. It's always been a place for summers, long weekends, and the odd winter trip if the road's good. My wife and I still spend most of the summer up there, same way my parents and grandparents did. That's just how it's always been. Our kids grew up with that rhythm too. We've got a couple of labs who come with us wherever we go, and the camp is no exception. They're part of the family. They sleep on the furniture, on the bed, wherever they want really. We keep the place clean, sweep and vacuum daily when we're there, but if you've had dogs, you know there's always going to be some hair. That's just how it is. We don't really think twice about it. My son's 22. He and his girlfriend have been living in the city since he finished school last year. A few weeks ago he asked if they could move up to the camp full-time. Not just for the summer, but for the whole year. Said they want to try living outside the city, save money, get out of the cycle of rent and roommates and all that. I told him no. If they wanted to come stay during the summer while we're there, like always, that'd be fine. There's space, and they're always welcome. But I'm not comfortable handing over the place full-time. It's still very much in use. It's where we go to unplug, where the dogs can run free, where we don't have to adjust how we live to make someone else comfortable. And I'll be honest, his girlfriend has made a few comments in the past about the dogs, usually in that kind of joking but not really tone. There's so much hair, or I don't know how you let them on the couch. That kind of thing. It's not personal. I just don't want to change the way we live at the one place that still feels like ours. Especially when it's part of our retirement plan to live there year-round, at least until our health determines otherwise. It's not about not supporting them, but I don't think they fully get what they're asking for either. Living up there year-round is different than visiting. There's a lot more to it. He didn't argue it, but we haven't talked much since. I don't think he sees it as a big deal, but to me, it is. So now I'm wondering if I'm being too rigid, or if I'm just protecting something that still has meaning the way it is.